Okay, so we're going to need to start the review for exam number 3. That's the goal right now. Okay, let's go. We would like to start off with calling this by name, as usual. That would be, okay, M105, exam 3. Review, and this is A. Okay, so let's get started right away. So now, here's the first problem. The first problem is really a zinger. It's bad. So let me just tell you what I want to do about it. Hold on, just give me a minute to put it up. It starts with a function, so that's innocent enough. 7x minus 2. 7x minus 2 over 5x plus 6. Fine. So the question is what they want. Two questions out of us. The first one, I probably won't be able to get it on one piece of paper. I hope the first part I'll be able to get on one piece of paper. For one thing is they want the inverse function, right? That minus 1. Sorry about that. I'm a little rusty on making the videos. You don't need parentheses there. They want the inverse function, that's how to say inverse function. Okay, that's number one. They also want they want the domain and the range. Okay, so we'll worry about that later. I don't think I'll be able to get it on the same piece of paper, B. I'm hoping to get all of A on the same piece of paper. Let's see. All right, so now let me tell you a little bit about this problem. Let me move up the paper a little bit. And again, I'm a little rusty for making videos. I haven't made videos since exam 2, which wasn't that long ago, but I'm still a little rusty. Okay, bear with me. So that is the question. Okay, there's we want the inverse, and there's the problem. As a matter of fact, I want to tell you a few things, and I want to start the problem on a clean piece of paper at the top. All right. First of all, this problem. If you see this, let me put it in writing. If you see this problem as problem number 1 on your test. Problem number 1 on your test. It's supposed to say number. Number 1 on test on exam 3. Then what you should do is skip it until the end. Then skip it until the end because it takes too long. Until the end. Until end, and then go back. And then go back to it. But don't spend so much time on it. Don't spend time on it at the beginning because I'm afraid it'll eat away at the problems that are much more easy to handle. So that's simple strategy. Test-taking strategy. Okay, now the second thing I want to tell you is that I'm going to give +5, even before, I might give it more than the +5. But +5, automatically I'm putting on the test because of this problem. Right, so that means if you get it right or wrong, I'm just going to give +5 to account for this problem because it's very difficult, and therefore I'm telling you that people are getting +5 automatically before we even start. You know you're getting a +5. Okay, and it's because of this problem. All right, I need to go to a clean piece of paper. That will be the smarter thing for me to do, I believe, and start from the beginning on top so I'll have enough room. Okay, here we go to a clean piece of paper. All right, so now, here's what I'm trying to do. Let me move the paper so I have the full piece of paper. Move it even down a little bit first, and then move it up later. Yeah, something like that. Okay, here we go. So, as a matter of fact, this video might take the video might be just devoted to this one problem. We'll see what happens. That's how long it is. Okay, so this is problem number 1. Well, it starts out as f of x is equal to 7x minus 2 over 5x plus 6. 5x plus 6. Our goal is to find f minus 1 of x equals, that was part A. We'll see what we'll do with part B later. Step 1, we had this before. Some of these steps are easy, but some of this is hard. That's why I consider this a hard problem. So the first part of this is what we studied this. We definitely did this topic. And what you're supposed to do is change f of x into y. Okay, that's not a big deal. Now, the next thing you're supposed to do is switch places between x and y. We've discussed all of that as well. But after you do that, it still is a hard problem. That's the problem, right? This is all sensible. So here's what you need to do with a problem like this. After you do the other 19 problems, like I said, the other 19 problems, then come back and do this problem number 1, and we are definitely going to try. We're going to show you how to do it. So now, multiply both sides by 5y plus 6. Right? If you multiply both sides by 5y plus 6, this side by 5y plus 6, and this side by 5y plus 6, then what will happen? These two will cancel out. So what will the next thing look like? So I'm going to put it this way. X times 5y plus 6 equals 7y minus 2. What's our goal? Our goal is to isolate y. You switch, and then there was 3 steps, right? Change it into y. Change the thing into y. And then switch places, right? The first step was to change the f of x into y, then switch places, and then to solve for y. That's what we're trying to do, solve for y. Okay, so fine, we're up to this stage. What do we do next? Multiply this across, right? So x times 5y, let me put x in the first and then y, and x times, and notice this times this is all I'm doing in this step, and x times 6, so it's plus 6x, equals 7y minus 2. Now, let's get the y's on the other side and get all the other junk. Let's get this y over on this side together with the other y and 6x on this side. So I do minus 7y on both sides. I'll get 5x y minus 7y. And if I do minus 6x on both sides, I'm going to get the minus 6x, right? Minus 6 on, and this will go away, and this minus 6x will show up on the right-hand side. I'm skipping a little bit of a step because it's so long. I'm doing a little bit like 2 steps at once, but nothing real complicated. So I'm getting this on the other side. It turns into negative 7x. I get this on the other side. It turns into negative 7y. And now I've got y's on both sides. That's going to be very convenient because here's what I want to do with the fact that I've got y's on both sides. Here's what I got to do. I've got to put y on the outside of the parentheses. I'm factoring, basically. I'm getting the GCF, which is y, and I'm putting it on the outside of the parentheses. What's left over here? You divide this by y, you'll get 5x. You divide this by y, and you get negative 7 equals minus 6x minus 2. Okay, let me move up the paper, make sure you can see it, and let me try to go down to the bottom. Okay, here we go. We're moving up. Yeah, I got, well, not much paper there, but I think we can take one more line here. I have to, if they do that, let's divide this by 5x minus 7 and this by 5x minus 7. What will happen? This will cross out. Okay, I'm coming up here. I'm almost finished, so I don't really have to move the paper up. Well, I might as well. Let's do it. Might as well move the paper up, try to get as much as I can out of it. Okay, so I come up over here. And what do I have with the cross out? Look on the bottom left. I'm taking the bottom left results. I get y equals minus 6x. I'm just cleaning it up, really. Nothing really is happening in this step. 5x minus 7. Cleaning it up because this stuff is crossed out. Okay, and there I've got y isolated on the left-hand side, exactly what I need. So what does that mean? I really have f minus 1 of x equals minus 6x minus 2, and this part of the problem is over. That's what they wanted. As soon as we got here, we're done. We got the inverse function, but it took a long time, and I know that makes this problem hard. Okay, let me show you. I probably be able to put B on this piece of paper, as a matter of fact. Surprisingly, I do have the room. Okay, B is supposed to find the domain of f minus 1. Well, the domain of f minus 1 domain of f minus 1, of x, the domain of f minus 1 of x is going to be, you take the 5x minus 7. That's going to tell us our domain, 5x minus 7, and you use the 5x minus 7 on the below there, and it cannot be equal to 0. You can't have it divide by 0. That's what's going to restrict the domain. So you do plus 7 on both sides. You get, these cancel out, you get 5 equals 7. You divide 5 by both sides, and you get x equals 7/5. And here's how you express the domain. The domain is as follows. They're going to want it in interval notation. So it's from negative infinity until 7/5. Don't include 7/5. It cannot be 7/5 because it's 7/5 that'll be a divide by 0, which is undefined. Or union 7/5, which can't be 7/5, so it's a parentheses, it can't be 7/5, it's the only thing that's excluded, and then go from there to infinity, because the only value that's excluded is the 7/5, and that's how to express the domain. So here's the answer for domain, that's the domain, and when they want the range, we got one more thing to do. Here was the answer for either this way or this way as the inverse. This was the inverse. And here's the domain. You take the denominator of the inverse for the domain, and how do you get the range? The way you get the range of f minus 1 is as follows. You take the actual domain of the original function. You take the domain of the original function, which is this one, and that'll be the range of the inverse function. So you take 5x plus 6, and you got to make sure that that's not going to be equal to 0. So you set that up to 0, find out when it's going to be equal to 0. You can't have divide by 0 there. So you do minus 6 on both sides. That's gone. 5x is equal to negative 6. Divide by 5 on both sides. And you got x is equal to negative 6/5. Okay, let me move this up in case on the video you're having trouble seeing it. Okay, you should for sure be able to see it. And now my final way of putting the range is in interval notation. That's what they want. So the range is going to be as follows. It's going to be from negative infinity until negative 6/5, but not including. So you put a parentheses, then the little union, then negative 6/5, negative 6 not included because we don't want it, until infinity, and close the parentheses for the infinity, and there is the range right over here, and this problem is over. You can see how long it takes, etc., etc., and how if you see this on problem number 1, you skip it, go to the other 19, come back to it if you have time, and like I said, I have, before you even start start this